A few reminders. This service is being recorded. If you don't want to be seen, you can sit over here to my right, and if you're on Zoom, you can disable your video. Assisted listening devices are present in the foyer. If you'd like to use one, a greeter will assist you. And for those of you with extra energy, we have fidget toys in the foyer, and we also welcome your movement during the service in ways that are helpful to you.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Lucia Jimenez, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am this morning's lay worship leader. I have light brown hair and tattoos. Welcome to Wildflower Unitarian Universalist Church. If you choose, I invite you to sign and say Wildflower's mission statement with me, and Kathy's going to help me because I'm still learning. Growing spiritually together, spreading love, justice, and joy.
That was fast.
Thank you. Unitarian Universalism is a theologically diverse religion that encourages people to seek their own spiritual path, guided by our covenantal principles. We are united in our desire to make the most of our time on earth and stand on the side of love and justice. At this time, we are lay-led, which means we are predominantly led by volunteers from the church. We are also grateful to have a part-time pastoral care support from Chaplain Kai Flannery. Our theme for April is nurturing relationships. And today, we are thrilled to have with us Reverend Sara Green, who is the Youth and Young Adults Program Manager at the Unitarian Universalist Association. Welcome. Her topic this morning is beauty, governance, and struggle. Welcome, Reverend Sara. Yay. Reverend Sara is in Austin for the Regional Drum Conference that Wildflower hosted this weekend. That stands for Diverse, Revolutionary, Unitarian, Universalist, Multicultural Ministries. We want to especially welcome, to our service this morning, guests who attended the drum retreat and the parallel program of Allies for Racial Equity held at First UU. And let's give a shout out to Michelle Venegas Matula, who is the Secretary of Drum's Steering Committee, for all her hard work. Yay. For all her hard work in making the conference happen. And now, Reverend Sara will call us to worship.
Good morning. The words for the call to worship are by Wendell Berry. It may be that when we are no longer sure what to do, we have come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings.
Rebecca Fletcher will light our chalice to open our service this morning. I invite those joining us online to light one as well or make the chalice hand sign. As we bring light into the start of this service, it is important to ground our bodies on the land and acknowledge the original stewards of what we now call Central Texas, the Lipan, Apache, and Comanche, the Tonkawa, and the Coahuiltecan. Let us use our breath to feel this connection with the ground and these native peoples. Some may call them ancestors. May this flame light our commitment to justice and help us transition into this space. After our opening hymn, we'll have our time for all ages. So all those young and young at heart, be prepared to gather round. Our opening hymn today is We Sing of Golden Mornings. If you wish, please join me in singing. You may wish to hum and stay seated, stand, clap, or engage with it in whatever way you are able and that inspires you. The lyrics will be projected in the sanctuary and on Zoom.
Young people under 105 years old. Okay, that's as close. Okay. Yeah, come on down. Great. Fantastic. This week, we're talking about beauty. So I need to know what you all think are some beautiful things in the world. Nice people are beautiful. That's true. What else? Yes. Ooh, things that you find. Oh my goodness. Do you like going to the thrift store? Me too. I found this dress. Beautiful things that we can find. Yeah. Flowers. What's your favorite flower? Rose. Solid choice. What else is beautiful? Yeah. Creativity is beautiful. Yep. Food. I had a beautiful chicken biscuit this week. Color. Yes, and I'm noting how much color is in your outfit today. Rainbows. Yeah. Trans people are beautiful. Who here has a Nana? Somebody that they call Nana. You got one? What about a grandma or a granny or an older person in your life? Yeah, you can picture them in your head. Well, we're going to learn a song about their beauty. Wow. Yes. So this song is in two parts. The first part is call and response, and it's the same melody and the same words. The second part, you have a special line. You ready to jump in? What's the beautiful thing? Rosa Parks, yes. Rosa Parks there's a picture of her doing yoga. Stellar. Okay, so the first line of this song that we're going to do a call and response goes like this. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. Your turn. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. The second part, this is your part. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her hands. Oh, was in her hands. You want to try that? And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her hands. Oh, was in her hands. And when we get to the hands part, we'll sort of talk about other parts, like maybe Nana's eyes or maybe Nana's hair. Okay? There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her hands. Oh, was in her hands. We'll do eyes next. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her eyes. Oh, was in her eyes. Let's do heart next. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her heart. Oh, was in her heart. What do you think that song means? There were no mirrors. What do you think? Yeah. Yes, she's pretty how she comes. Anybody want to add to that? What do you think this song means? Yes. Oh, maybe she couldn't see. But that we, as maybe grandchildren or other loved ones, can reflect that back to them. Mm-hmm.
Also that she knows that there's beauty in everyone.
And there's beauty in everyone, right? And we kind of know we're beautiful because of Nana. And we're all just a beautiful ecosystem. Let's do the song one more time. And let's talk about how beautiful her spirit is. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her spirit. Oh, was in her spirit. Thanks for singing with me, all. We're going to sing you out again. Take it away.
Now is the time in our service where we offer the opportunity to donate to support the well-being of our church community. If you are a first-time visitor, your presence is your gift to us. For those of you here in the sanctuary, we invite you to share your financial gifts in the baskets that will be circulated. Ways to donate to Wildflower will be projected in the sanctuary and shared in the chat for those of you attending Zoom. Thank you so much for your generosity. So I grew up coming to Wildflower as a child, and it's really an honor to be back here as an adult now that I'm 31. So thank you. And I just want to say hi to my mom. She's in Costa Rica right now, and she's tuning in, so miss you. I grew up between two different cultures and two different languages. I spent half of my life in the United States and the other half in Costa Rica. I speak both English and Spanish. My mother is a white woman from the East Coast, while my father comes from a family of farmers with indigenous roots in Cobano, Costa Rica. These two beautiful humans came together and created me. This has been my life, my experience, my normal, my story. I am so proud to be who I am and to come from the magical places that shaped me. However, growing up in a bicultural home comes with its own unique set of challenges. I always felt like I didn't fully belong anywhere I was. Living in the US would highlight my Costa Rican roots, while living in Costa Rica highlighted my gringo roots. I was othered no matter where I was. I questioned my identity and who I was supposed to be. At times, I was ashamed to be Latina, and at other times, I was ashamed to be the white gringa. Either way, I always felt like I had to choose one or the other. I battled with this internal rejection of coexistence for a long time, fragmenting two halves of my soul. I was struggling to digest that I could identify as both and boldly dance to my own beat as the glorious mixed soul that I am. Societal expectations made it even more difficult to navigate, constantly requiring you to neatly box yourself into a category, immediately painting you with stereotypical assumptions as soon as you chose one. Even my parents couldn't truly understand what I was experiencing. Even as their experiences shaped me, I felt isolated. It wasn't until I witnessed the recent uproar and uniting of people who feel othered and unconsidered by the power system that is our government that I realized I don't have to fit into any box. I don't have to minimize my truth or identity in order to fit what others deem to be my existence, to morph myself into what serves them, to internalize their hate. I watched others fight for a freedom that I can choose myself. It humbled me into recognizing what I can control. I can rebel against the box that I'm forced into by people who don't even know me. I am not alone, and I can choose how I see myself. I'm a blend of cultures and worlds. I get to express myself in 2 different languages. I celebrate what each side of my family has taught me. I love my friends and community in both cultures. I am finally reintegrating those fragmented parts into one. It is liberating to allow yourself to embrace who you are, all of you, to celebrate your story and empower yourself to be beautifully you. And now, we'll do, as we do each Sunday, we now enter our space in the service for joys and concerns. Feel free to use a slip of paper handed to you at the door to write something that is on your heart. If you did not get a slip of paper, raise your hand and a greeter will assist you. If you are on Zoom, please use the chat function to share your joys and concerns. Also know that our pastoral care chaplain, Kai Flannery, is available to support you. Their email is pastoralcare@wildflowerchurch.org. The information will be in the chat.
There's a joy for a trans day of visibility. I'll say it again. There's a joy for Trans Day of Visibility.
Joy for the work of Texas UUJM, standing up for TQIA and Texans, I feel more connected to this legislative session than any other because of being connected through their newsletter, social media, etc.
There's a joy for music, food, and trust.
Joy, my new job is going really well. Concern, as ever, mass shootings that Republicans do nothing to prevent. From Rebecca.
There's a joy in being alive and creating memories.
The shared wisdom and history of UUs of color celebrating the global majority.
Another joy, going on a walk yesterday and seeing and smelling all the bluebonnets.
Yeah. Spending time with beautiful BIPOC kids at our drum gathering.
Someone shared a concern of stress in the body.
Joy to see Lucia here today. Thank you.
Joy and prayer for a steady, energized youth ministry.
Joy, grateful for life and sharing it with my partner. Concern, life is going by fast. Need to be more present.
I'm worried about some of the proposed bills by our Texas legislators. Joy, there's signs of spring in my backyard and neighborhood.
Trying to stay strong during scary times.
The heartful, joyful, beautiful gathering of my drum community. Grateful for all who were there and all who helped make it happen.
Joy, getting to see Vince's cool house this month and the rapport of the Meds coffee group and spending time with Adrian, Corey, and Eliza. Sorrow, saying goodbye to Austin and this dear community and Chaplain Kai. From Chaplain Kai. Thank you.
More people are standing up for peace.
Joy is all the amazing music and beauty in the world. Yeah.
Moving into feminine energy and surrendering to help.
I want to feel happy and have a better relationship with my mom and self-harm to stop.
Grateful for the gorgeous weather, for our weekend visit to Austin, and feeling loved and happy to be in community in person with all the wildflowers.
Joy, watching all the kids enjoy Easter festivities before service. Yeah.
I am overjoyed at the hospitality extended by Lay Wildflowers community and for the beautiful time shared at the drum retreat.
Joy, springtime flowers, warmer weather.
Inspiring weekend drum retreat, new friends, deepening insights.
My joy is sharing time, hearts, joy, and music with my drum siblings and cousins this weekend.
Grateful to see our Wildflower youth growing into beautiful adults. Thank you, Lucia.
Thank you. Joy for all of our drum friends being here today. Concern for the legislative decisions being made in Texas.
Really loved the UU Women's Retreat last weekend. It lifted my heart.
So much gratitude for fellowship and soul-nourishing connections this weekend with my drum family.
So happy to have drum friends in town.
I believe in life. What is a spirit made of?
The reception venue that Clayton and I have been negotiating with for months finally said that they couldn't accommodate us. We get to start wedding planning almost from scratch.
A friend is nearing the end of his life, struggling with decisions and struggling physically and mentally. Send him good thoughts, please.
Friends, bow your head in prayer or soften your gaze. Spirit of spring and complexities, you have really handed us a mixed bag this week. It can almost feel like whiplash. The bluebonnets to the legislature, to friends, to personal disasters. Spirit, be with us this week to stay grounded with our hearts and minds still here in this place. Be with us to not spiral off into delusion, because this is the time where we need to be present with each other, to love on each other, to organize with each other, to feed each other, to celebrate with each other, to mourn with each other. And that can only happen if we stay here in this place together with others. Spirit, we also are yelling for your collaboration. These people, some of whom we love and are in our families, have just concocted this poison. And we are not the anecdote alone. Be with us as we find humility and strengthen that humility to do the work that's going to save lives. And remind us that we don't do it alone, that we can't do it alone, that it has never been done alone. And in all of that, remind us to breathe. May it be so.
Our reading this morning is the poem The Heart and the Fist by Rudy Francisco. And the article says the Mexican government confiscates approximately 30,000 illegal firearms per year. When the guns are taken, they get dismantled, and the metal is used to make other types of weapons that will later be utilized by their military. In 2012, Pedro Reyes, an artist from Mexico City, convinced his government to donate the guns to him, and he turned them into musical instruments. So somewhere there's a tambourine, a drum set, a guitar, all made by things that were used to take people's lives, but now they create sound that puts life back into people's bodies. Which is, you say a weapon will always be a weapon, but we choose how we fight the war. And from this I learned that even the most destructive instruments can still create a melody worth dancing to. And sometimes don't we also call that a battle? I wonder how long it took to convince the first rifle that it can hold a note instead of a bullet, but still fire into a crowd and make everyone move. When I was 6, I was taught how to throw a punch. And in the 80s, that was the anti-bullying movement. The first time one of my classmates took a yo mama joke a little too far, I remember my training, so I turned his nose into a fountain. My fist 5 pennies, I closed my eyes, made a wish. I came home with bloody knuckles, and it was the first piece of artwork my family hung on the fridge. I remember staring at my hands the same way you stare at a midterm when all your answers are correct. I didn't know what class this was, but I did know that I was passing. And isn't that what masculinity has become? A bunch of dudes afraid of their own feelings, terrified of any emotion but anger, yelling at the wall, at the shadow on the wall, but still haven't realized that we're the ones standing in front of the light. We learn how to dodge and jab. We learn how to step in before we swing. We learn that the heart is the same size as the fist, but we keep forgetting they don't have the same functions. We keep telling each other to man the F up when we don't know what the F that even means. We turn our boys into bayonets. We point them in the wrong direction. We pull their triggers. And then we just ignore all the damage they're doing in the distance. The word repurpose, it means to take an object and give it amnesia. It means to make something forget what it's been trained to do so you can use it for a better reason. I am learning that this body is not a shotgun. I am learning that this body is not a pistol. I am learning that a man is not defined by what he can destroy. I am learning that a person who only knows how to fight can only communicate in violence, and that shouldn't be anyone's first language. I'm learning that the only difference between a garden and a graveyard is what you choose to put in the ground. You see, once I came across a picture of a strange-looking violin. The caption said that it was made out of a rifle. I thought to myself, someday that could be me.
So like the Joys and Concerns said, we had a rambunctious time at the Gem Retreat. It was fantastic. And even though I was popping in and out, working with a couple of youth, I could feel the vibration in the room. On Friday, I believe it was, Madi led Lectio Divina, which is a sort of spiritual practice that you do with a reading or a poem, and you engage in that text. And the text was a song by Shirley Caesar. But I want to tell you the first time I learned who Shirley Caesar was. It was around 2016, and I was doing a lot of driving in the deep South, like Mississippi, Alabama. And I love the radio. I'm not somebody that is going to put a podcast on for the whole time. I want to know what's happening in Jackson, Mississippi, between there. I want to know what people are talking about. And so I'm scanning, lots of scanning. And I'm not sure why I stopped, but I heard this woman who would turn out to be Shirley Caesar singing this song, and it stopped me in my tracks. The world was, in some ways, a similar mess as it is this week. And it was emboldening, it was nourishing to hear this song in that moment. And I want to sing it for you. We're going to do lots of singing this morning, so there's that. But this is the song. She sang, "Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down." And she keeps going. She says, "Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom all across this land. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down." What? Yes, that. I don't know what Satan means to her personally, but that. And I've carried that song with me. You know, since then, of course, 2016 was a moment, and there keep being moments where we see this intricate, underground, sophisticated kingdom of oppression just rising up. It's stunning when you think about what they've accomplished, but that this woman, Shirley Caesar, puts it in her voice, charges the air with this task of tearing this kingdom down, was exactly the medicine that I needed then, and that I return to when I'm overwhelmed with the task. So I want to ask you, let's crowdsource, what's this kingdom that we're seeing? What's it made of? I'm asking for some. Fear, money, greed, power. Hate, yeah. Yeah. Gosh, and in some ways, doesn't it feel like we live in this kingdom, not even by choice? Like, it's like fish in water sometimes. It's like you try to get it off and you just can't scrub it. This is sort of the season for this weed called cleavers, and it has medicinal purposes, but it's also like Velcro weed, and it just moves. It's like chickenpox, or my kid had hand, foot, and mouth, and you just can't scrub it off. And in all of that sort of contorting and trying to move around it, trying to be people of value, of principle, of justice, I think we do get confused because it's just so integrated. We get confused about property and ownership, and part of the really messed up thing about this kingdom is that it convinces us that we should have our own kingdoms. I've been really so curious about Wildflower sharing space. Sharing is not a thing that this kingdom encourages or perhaps even knows how to do. There's another song that I want to sing for you called, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's by Silver Mount Zion Orchestra. And I want to invite you to join with me as you're inspired. When the world is sick, can't no one be well, but I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, can't no one be well, but I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, can't no one be well, but I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. I want to pause there because what sick is talking about in this song is not that bodies are changing and deteriorating and growing. That's not the sickness. This is the sickness that we see in that kingdom, that thing you just can't shake, that contorts. So in February, I was in Cambodia, and we were visiting Angkor Wat, one of the largest ecumenical temples in the world, really. And it's a UNESCO site, and so that means there's lots of tourists, and people are selling goods and all sorts of things. And on day 2, we're in our little tuk-tuks, and we're driving around the temples, and the women mostly selling their goods just became really intense. They come up to you right as you land, and they're hustlers, and it's really intense to watch, and you're trying to move around the temples. And, I said to one of the people that I was on the trip with, it's like, oh, no one's winning here. I can't give her all of my money. She needs to feed her family. And I started to think about how this kingdom of oppression, white supremacy, contorts us and makes it so that there is no winning. It makes us so that the only option I have is to tell her no, and the only option she has is to keep asking. And it makes us weird. I think that contortion is what this song is trying to get at using the word sick and unwell, is that we're just twisted. It's like having that muscle that just won't relax. I'm going to ask us to sing this song a couple more times. And as you're singing it, I would love for you to think about what it means to be beautiful and well. When the world is sick, can't no one be well, but I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, can no one be well, but I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. Let's hum it. One last time. So what is beautiful? I trust that in this UU church, many people are familiar with the idea of implicit bias. That's about what we think is beautiful. And that's about what we make decisions oriented towards, because what's valuable or what's trusted or what's familiar, but it's about what's beautiful. And so if we're looking at this massive kingdom that has thought seemingly of everything we might do to resist it, and it's at the ready to respond with violence, it's important that we interrogate what's beautiful. What is our intrinsic pull? I don't know about you, but like one of the young people said, I think flowers and the land is beautiful and teaches us not just to take beauty at surface value, but to dig deeper. So I know from healthy ecosystems that diversity is our best defense, and thus diversity becomes beautiful. A range of tactics becomes pretty, like a bouquet, almost. I know from nature that iteration keeps us nimble and alive. And so learning and what we call mistakes become compostable. I know that healthy ecosystems are about belonging in homes. And even when there's what we call weeds, that there's a place, a belonging, a task for that weed to labor around and to belong. What else comes to mind when you think about what's beautiful in this new world that we're building when we tear away this kingdom? Rest. Joy. Joy and friendship, yeah. Authenticity. Learning, right. I think our task is to make those things beautiful. In organizing, we talk about making the movement irresistible. Think about singing together and playing together and making our little mirror neurons and things all just giddy with each other, with being human together, and with resting. I think part of why it's important is because it drives our impulses, and that's important because we are the decision makers, the builders, the cobblers, and the seamstresses of this new kingdom. And being clear about our wishes and our desires and what's beautiful helps us to be accountable and trustworthy decision makers. It's not that we get to push what's beautiful for us onto everyone, but there's a way that when we take up space in our truth, that we get to be in conversation with others in integrity. We can't do that if there's some things we're still thinking are beautiful, but that are of that nasty, nasty kingdom that we're really working to tear down. I was in an organizing training back in the Bay, the Bay. And the one thing that I really remember from that is this organizer, Gopal, who works with Movement Generation on land and climate, really awesome dude. He said, if we are not prepared to govern, we are not prepared to win. Wow. That has stuck with me for about 10 years now. So we're preparing to govern by being clear about our wishes, our desires, what's beautiful, what intrinsically motivates us, so that as this new community of justice and equity is manifesting before our eyes, we're prepared for that. We're not just inheriting this building and then saying, wow, we didn't really think about what's inside. We didn't think about after we slayed all the dragons and out-organized all of the extreme fundamentalists, what we were going to build with. So we return to that beauty to fill up the space, to put art on the walls, to breathe songs into the air. But I don't think really that it's a thing that all happens at once, that suddenly we go to about 500 million trainings, and then suddenly someone bops us on the head and says, "You are now prepared to govern, therefore you shall win." Unfortunately, it's not as simple as that, because I can imagine we are well-trained people in this room, and yet there's still some practicing that we have to do. I find song to be such an incredible tool for practicing self-governance. So I got one more song, and when we sing it, I want you to think about how you bring your imagination around what's beautiful to this space. Are you someone that's going to start off the percussion or the harmony? Or are you someone for whom beauty is in sign language or in hand gestures? Are you someone for whom the beauty is in humming or even in stillness? And I'm curious, in this little microcosm of governing our new community, what we can accomplish. This is a song by Matthew Meyer Bolton that I learned from the other Matt Meyer in Boston. Let's do it. Let's see. This is me practicing what's beautiful here. I think that we can do line by line. There's going to be, let's say, 2 lines. So I'll go and then repeat after me. I'll go, repeat after me. We are going to a place where music falls and fills up everything. Your turn. We are going to a place where music falls and fills up everything. Though it might be a long time, I know it's gonna be alright, 'cause we've already started to sing. Though it might be a long time, I know it's gonna be alright, 'cause we've already started to sing. Great, we are ready to govern. Let's rock out. We're gonna do this a couple times, so find your place in this ecology of this song and make it a beautiful place. We are going to a place where music falls and fills up everything. Though it might be a long time, no, it's gonna be alright, 'cause we've already started to sing. We are going to a place where music falls and fills up everything. Though it might be a long time, no, it's gonna be alright, 'cause we've already started to sing. 2 more times, find your place. We are going to a place where music falls and fills up everything. Though it might be a long time, no, it's gonna be alright, 'cause we've already started to sing. Last time, make it count. We are going to a place where music falls and fills up everything. Though it might be a long time, I know it's gonna be alright, 'cause we've already sing, though it might be a long time. I know it's gonna be all right, 'cause we've already started to sing. One more time, that last part. Though it might be a long time, no, it's gonna be all right, 'cause we've already started to sing. May it be so. So all of that we just tapped into, we're gonna sing, I Know This Rose Will Open, and I would love for you to take that same energy of making the space inside this song beautiful. May it be so.
As I extinguish our chalice, I invite you to do the same at home.
Our benediction is from Rosemary Watola Trommer. And if it's true we are alone together. The way blades of grass are alone but exist as a field. Sometimes I feel it. The green fuse that ignites us, the wild thrum that unites us, an inner hum that reminds us of our shared humanity. Just as 35 trillion red blood cells join in one body to become one blood, just as 136,000 notes make up one symphony, alone as we are, our small voices weave into the one big conversation. Our actions are essential to the one infinite story of what it is to be alive. When we feel alone, we belong to the grand communion of those who sometimes feel alone. We are the dust that hopes, a rising of dust, a thrill of dust, a dust that dances in the light with all other dust, the dust that makes the world. Amen, and blessed be.
For those of you on Zoom, the link to the announcements is in the chat. After the service today, our monthly lunch brunch. Join others for lunch at the Whip-In. It's about a half a mile north of here on the southbound I-35 frontage road. Feel free to walk or drive there. In addition, our drum and ARE attendees will be meeting at Casa Colombia and then the Puerto Rican Cultural Center for their outdoor picnic. As you leave the service today, we encourage you to explore what kind of beauty keeps you anchored to your commitment to building the beloved community. You are invited to stay for conversation in the community room, the courtyard, or small groups on Zoom. Feel free to listen to the postlude and leave the sanctuary as you are moved to do so.